Hiya, so this video is going to be, I was actually doing an update and then realised that the thing that I was going to go on to talk about is a whole video in itself, and it's about helping you to recruit and train staff and how to make life easier. So when I first started, I kind of knew at the outset that I need a training video. Honestly, I just kept putting it off because I just didn't want to do it because there was going to be so many different moving parts and audio and this and that. And then I just put it off, kick the can down the road. Cut to taking on my first staff last year. And then I realised how frustrating it was to, oh my gosh, and I'm going to repeat the mistake that I made over and over again. Watch this, right? So I took on the staff and then I realised, crikey, I am having to train these people at the most basic minutiae of level detail of you clean this surface, now clean this. This is how you clean this surface. This is how you clean the shower screen, right? Honestly, I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting to have to train at that level because right, when I started my cleaning business, I was like, on the Friday, I decided, right, I'm starting a cleaning business. And by the Monday, Tuesday, I was going out getting clients. And then I was cleaning at their house on Friday. No one held my hand. No one taught me how to do it. No one taught me how to find the clients and get them on. And no one taught me how to do the actual cleaning. When it came to the actual cleaning, I thought cleaning's simple. Anyone's going to be able to do it. So it should just be quite easy. It should be a case of taking staff on and just putting them in the customer's home. Well, little did I know that actually so many people cannot clean, right? They cannot clean. And the funny thing about it is that people think they can clean and they really can't. They can't clean at professional level, right? So everyone can clean something, but not everyone can clean professionally. And cleaning professionally is doing it really thoroughly with really high attention to detail and not leaving gaps and making sure that things like that there's no smears on mirrors, there's no smears on taps and things like that. So it's like done to a really high shine. So the actual amount of training I had to do was mind-blowing. And I was like, crap. This is such an energy drain that I know that what I'm teaching here, it should be systematized. So I need to have this on a video. What I did do at that time was I really tightened up my checklist, right? Because what I'd created a checklist that was predominantly for the actual client to see, because I knew what I was doing. I didn't need a checklist. I go in and make sure everything's done. But when you have staff coming on, I was realizing that they, even with a kind of basic checklist, they were still missing this, they were still missing that, like to the extent where I had to put on the checklist every horizontal surface, check every horizontal surface, because they kept missing things that were covered in dust. So I did get that checklist on. And there's been iterations and iterations of it now where what is on that checklist is actually really good. And covers everything. It's really thorough, as long as the person doing it is thorough and using it properly. So that was the first key part of the learning. Now cut to later on this year, who still hadn't done their video? I hold my hand up. I had still not done my video. So there I was taking on new staff. I took 2 on at the same time, and I was having to train them in exactly the same way, with the same minutiae of detail, the same little things over and over again. It was driving me stir freaking crazy, because I was like, this is so simple. Like, it's just clean it. Do you know? But people aren't able to, and they need to be trained how to do that. You know, I mean, there's companies out there that train for 2 months. Yes, we'll train for 2 months on how to clean. So I was doing intensive training. I was going out on the cleans with them, cleaning, kind of doing half the clean, and then going back over with the checklist. So I was training and cleaning at the same time. It was like really exhausting, actually. So finally, because this is like now further on into the year, other staff have come on board. I went down the route actually of taking on freelance cleaners that were already cleaning, which did actually take some of the weight off because they were actually pretty good already, which was like a saving grace. But I need to be able to offer my job out to people who haven't cleaned before, as well. So I do need to cover myself, and I need to have these systems in place. So finally, when was it? Where are we now? It must have been at some point in August or late July where I started putting together a video, because in the video what I realised was it's not just about training the person how to clean and how to clean to the high standard, but it's why. So the first part of the video is like a really crucial part of the video, and it talks about the actual company, who we are, what we stand for, what our customers want. So I've gone into all the detail that I would pick up at the home visits for new clients, where they would tell me, oh, we're getting rid of our last cleaner because of this, this, and this. So I'm like, right, if they got rid of them because of this, this, and this, then we need to make sure that we're doing these things. Yeah, which is basically consistency, reliability, and doing a really good quality clean. That's all anybody wants, okay? But I need to drill that in the video, because I felt in some ways like my understanding of my business and my brand, even though I would say it verbally to a new member of staff coming on, there was a lot of things that they need to learn, right? There's a lot of things that they need to pick up, and they also need to learn how to clean. They need to get to the new clients. They need to learn to work with me. They need to start putting their invoices in. That I think the element of the actual business and what the business stands for was getting lost a little bit in all of it. And it was like the really important, it was the core actually of everything that we do. So you understand that when I'm coming back to you about your attention to detail, it's because of the company ethos. We're not meeting the company ethos if you're leaving gaps, right? So that's been a really good thing that I've kind of learned over having these staff members, because before I was just going to go straight in and train. This is how you clean. But people need to know why. Why am I cleaning to this level? Why am I cleaning, like doing the superior cleaning? Because we are a premium service and clients are paying a premium for what we're doing. So that's the first section now. So the first section is the whole ethos of the company and who our clients are, so that they've got a much better view and they're holding the same kind of understanding of the business as I have, so that we're all in alignment. So I've done that. Then the second part is about how you actually break up a room and clean it. So you've got the checklist. So I've given them the checklist. They've got all the notes on ZenMade for the nuances of the clean, but also on that training, I've trained them how to go in and literally work your way around. To some people watching this might sound really bizarre, because you're like, that's obvious. But I'm telling you, it's not. It's not to some people. They're just like, where they're missing stuff. You're like, how can you miss that if you're going around? But they're not going around methodically, right? So the training is you go around methodically, do this part, do this part, do this part. And then it's also, so I've done the kitchens, I've done bathrooms, I've done kind of living rooms where you go around the corner and then you've got to come back into the center of the room, because say like they're missing coffee tables, for example. So there's that section then. And then the final section is where I've taken a load of photos of where I've done trial cleans for new members of staff and their misbits. So what I've done is I've taken photos of all the things that have been missed. And at the end, there's a video that asks them some questions along the lines of, what does professionalism mean to you? What does the CCF cleaning process stand for? What does it mean? Describe our client avatar. Yeah, so I'm getting them to think again about what was actually in the presentation. And then all those pictures, so they can see what's being missed, what's being missed, what's being missed. And one of the things I've put on repeatedly is window ledges. Window ledges constantly being missed. And they're, funnily enough, the place in the house that gets the dirtiest. So now what I'm doing is, in addition to that, and I've been doing that this week, so this is kind of a continuation really of the update. It was just there was so much involved in the recruitment and training that I've done a separate video. I've also done a Google questionnaire, right? So I'm asking people a whole host of questions that they need to answer, and I need to see them before we go any further, before I'm wasting any time getting on a call with them. Because while you might think, when you're thinking in ones and twos, oh, it's easy to get on a call. Well, when you're doing that over and over and over and over again, and you're making arrangements to get on a call with someone and starting from scratch each time, that is something that you need to systematise, because you always need to be mindful of scaling. And so there's no way in the future, when I'm taking on more staff or when we've got like a bigger company, that I can ring everyone and start blind and go through a questionnaire on the phone. It's like, no, I'm going to ping it over on an email, because it's much easier to ping the email and get the answers back than try to play tennis with text messages and stuff. Oh, are you free at this time? Can we pop on a call? Blah, 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 blah. Then you're on a call for another 40 minutes. I could have gone out and got all of the information from 40 people in that amount of time. And the reality is, with recruitment, you do have to do it. You're going to be speaking to or connecting with a lot of people to get to the one person that is going to come on board and be your member of staff. So in that way, then, my recruitment process has really tightened up this year. So I've got my training video, which is not just training, it's the whole ethos of the company, what we do, so that people understand the culture, and they're getting that, all that video, right? I'm sending that to them and telling them to watch that before they come and do their trial clean. So they do it on their time, because I want them to digest the information about the company, and I want them to know that this isn't just some easy dip in and dip out. I'll rub around a little bit in people's houses. It's easy, because the training video shows, no, that is not what this is. It's a professional cleaning company. Can you be consistent? Can you be reliable? And can you clean to a high standard of attention to detail for our really discerning clients? Because if they watch that, then they can cancel themselves out. And this is where my video was brilliant, because I sent it to someone and they wrote back and they said, Viv, I don't think I'd be able to clean to your standard. And rather than going, oh no, I was like, yes, this means that my methods of how I'm bringing people into the funnel for recruitment is actually working, because she absolutely acknowledged through watching that video what the expectations were without me having to say a word. I just pinged it over on an email, right? So when you're if you are able to do this before you start taking on staff, yes, you might do iterations as you learn from staff what staff aren't doing, and then you're troubleshooting. But if you can create videos where you have your ethos really nailed down, this is what this job is in its culture, in its ethos, in who our clients are, in what we deliver, then they've got a really good overview of that before they even start. Then you've got the training for them, which they can absorb and digest at their own time, and they can keep going back to it. So you don't, like now I'll be going to them, you need to go back to your training video, right? If they're missing things. And so you need to go back to this section, go back to the bathroom section, right? It's going to save me a hell of a lot of time. And then the part where you're getting them to scrutinise and look at, what did other people fail on? Yeah. By showing mistakes, because people do really learn from visually looking at other people's mistakes. So these videos, these questionnaires, everything is really now supporting me. I'm now going back into recruiting again when I come back from holiday, with a view to taking on another member of staff in September or October. And I actually really feel that I now have, essentially, I've got everything that I need for all of this back end stuff to really support me where I'm not having to reinvent the wheel, you know. And maybe I might reiterate what was on the video about the ethos of our clients and consistency and reliability in the interview stage, to really drill down and see what they respond back, you know, see what they say. Are they understanding it? So after I've sent out that form with the questionnaire, that's going to tell me whether or not I'm going to proceed at all. Then I'll send them the training video, and then I will invite them for a trial clean, a paid trial clean. At the moment, I'm doing that in my own home because it's the easiest place to do it. And before I was doing about an hour, but going forwards now, I'm going to do it for about 2.5 hours and get a 2.5 hour clean done here, so that I can see what their cleaning standards like and if it's worth going any further. Because I've had people come in that were already freelance cleaners, say, and the standard was like, it's like, literally, did you even touch anything? This is a joke. And then I know, I can't go anywhere with that, right? Because before, what I was doing is I was taking people out with me on cleans, paying them. I was still having to get the clean done for the client. So I was having to do like the lion's share of the work while still paying them. And it was like, oh, that's too much. So you need to have this child clean element in there to really protect yourself before you get out to any clients, to see, is it even worth it? Because you don't want random people turning up at your client's home for training, because it can make your company look a little bit flaky if you've got all these people coming and going. You only want to put someone out into clients' homes to train when you feel like you've got something to work with. So that is kind of another part update, but it's all kind of focused around recruitment and getting the back end operations set up, ready for doing more recruitment or at more scale. And that will also help the franchisees as well, that they've got all this training stuff in the background. So hopefully, if you're watching this, obviously you're looking at staffing, you're looking at recruiting staff. This is kind of valid for anybody. Like, I do kind of gear my stuff towards the UK, but what I've said here is relevant for anybody running, in fact, any type of trade business anywhere on the planet, because the same thing applies, isn't it? We're teaching people the ethos, we're teaching people how to do it, and then we're teaching people how to troubleshoot. I think the next video that I'm going to create is another further training video, and it's going to be really deep diving products and tools to help me even further, so that I'm not having to do this all kind of reinventing the wheel every time, because you could go a little bit crazy teaching people to clean from scratch. I was last year. So hope you find this helpful, and I shall see you again soon. Bye.